So guys, let us get real for a second because the market just threw a massive temper tantrum this morning and most of you probably almost puked your breakfast. I am sitting here looking at my portfolio, which is currently at $124,560, and I am not sweating one bit. Why? Because I have seen this movie before and I know how it ends. The US stock market has been surging for 6 weeks straight, and if history is any indication, this is just the beginning of the next leg up. Today, I am going to show you exactly where the money is flowing, what areas I am focused on, and 2 new stocks I am buying right now with my own hard-earned cash. I do this every single week, so if you are not yet a subscriber, click the button and subscribe to the channel right now. That way these videos will show up in your feed before the opportunity passes you by. So let us look at today, and man, what a roller coaster we were on. The market gapped down this morning and sold off all the way until lunch, and then it rallied to recover pretty much all of the losses. The initial sell came from a new inflation report where the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics announced that CPI rose 0.6% in April. That does not mean inflation is 0.6%. It means the rate things were going up increased by over 0.5%. If you look at the official report, they make this stuff look so boring, but the unadjusted 12-month inflation is currently sitting at 3.8%. A lot of this is driven by energy costs like oil and gasoline, but that does not mean everything is a loser. In fact, the recovery we saw today is a really nice sign of strength that shows nothing can hold this market back. Not above average inflation, not the fear of interest rate cuts being pushed back, and not even global conflicts. Despite all the noise, the index continues to paint new highs, and that is the kind of market you want to be invested in. I remember back in 2020 when I graduated right into the middle of a global disaster, and I had zero idea what I was doing. I was driving a 2006 car that sounded like a blender, and I was working a job that made me miserable every single day. I spent my early 20s living like a monk and pouring every cent I had into the market because I saw it as my only exit strategy. I did not have a couch in my apartment for a year because I would rather own shares of VO and VTI than sit on a piece of fabric. That discipline is why I am sitting on 6 figures today. While most people my age are complaining about rent, let us look at our industry strength indicator, which tracks the top 40 areas of the market. Semiconductors have been on an absolute tear, but a lot of them are very extended right now. You have Intel up over 200% in 2 months, and AMD has doubled, which is very stretched. But there are a couple of other areas rising up the ranks, and this is what I want to see. One of them is crypto and digital payments, which has been in a crypto winter for a long time, but it is finally beginning to rise. There is a stock that benefits directly when crypto is strong, and that is Coinbase. Coinbase is the exchange where everyone goes to buy their Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it stands to reason that when those coins surge, more people open accounts. If you look at the charts, Coinbase moves lock, stock, and barrel with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin rises, so does Coinbase, and when it pulls back, Coinbase follows. I think Coinbase is a stock we can buy right here on a breakout above the 210 to 215 area. It tried to peek its head out on Monday and pulled back today with the overall market weakness. But this is exactly the kind of formation we want to see. It has had a massive 60 to 70% drop in the last year, and now we are seeing it absorb that supply and form a rounded bottom. I am targeting the 275 range for the first piece, followed by a big target of 320 to 340. If it breaks above today S high of $218, I am in. The second stock I want to look at is in the rare earth sector, which is beginning to rise up the ranks again. Over the last year, it is actually the leading group of the market right behind semiconductors. The stock I am looking at is Tronox Holdings, ticker TRX. The relative strength rating on this is a 96, which means it is outperforming 96% of stocks in the entire market. I want to buy these leaders on pullbacks because that is where the low-risk entries are. TRX had a big decline and then formed a rounded bottom just like Coinbase, and now it is starting to push higher. The rule for these strong breakouts is to always buy the first touch of the 50-day moving average. Notice back in March, it just kissed that 50-day line and surged higher, and it is sitting right there again. It is currently sitting around 8.78, and I can risk about 6 or 7% with a stop at 8.15. I am recording this after the market closed because I wanted to see how today finished. If we had closed near the lows, I would be worried about more downside tomorrow. But the market recovered the bulk of that dip. I am going to place a market on open order for 1,000 shares of TRX tomorrow morning. I am not going to buy it post-market because the bid-ask spread is way too wide, and I am not going to let them sucker me in on that. Now I will show you one more thing, and I don't mean to scare anyone, but we have to be realistic. I think the bull market is still well in effect, and we will be materially higher in 12 months. But we are in an area where we could start seeing a short-term pullback. If you look at the S&P 500 on a logarithmic scale, we are right near that upper band where stocks tend to revert to the mean. We are up 17% since the March low, which is huge for the largest equity market on the planet. I am not saying we are going to crash, but we could see a small stall or a hesitation period, which would actually be healthy. It would allow stocks to set up new bases and get ready for the next move higher. Because of this, I am going to be a little bit more cautious and size down my positions. Usually I do about $20,000 per S-wing trade, but for these, I am going to set them back to about $10,000. When the market gets extended, I size down to protect my capital because at the end of the day, capital preservation is the name of the game. I didn't get to $124,560 by being reckless. I got there by being calculated. I spent years working that soul-crushing job, and I know exactly how hard it is to earn a dollar. I am not going to throw it away just because I have a bit of FOMO. Most people think investing is about greed, but it is really about ownership over your time. I don't want to be 60 years old and still asking a boss for permission to go on vacation. I want to do what I want when I want, and that requires a massive pile of cash working for me, 24/7. I am averaging close to $400 every single month in dividends right now, and that is just the beginning. That money is the gift that keeps on giving because it compounds and grows every single year. You don't have to be a genius to do this. You just have to be disciplined and consistent. If a simpleton like me who graduated in 2020 can figure this out, then truly anyone can. I didn't have a finance degree or a trust fund, I just had a brokerage account and the will to survive. I remember sitting in my car in the parking lot of my old job just staring at the steering wheel and thinking there has to be a better way. That feeling of desperation is what drove me to learn about VU and VTI and the power of index funds. I realized that if I could just save 50% of my income and put it into the market, I could buy my freedom in a decade. So that is exactly what I did. I ignored the people who told me to live a little, and I ignored the people who told me I was missing out on my youth. Now I am 27, and I have more freedom than most people will have in their entire lives. The snowball is rolling, and it is getting bigger and faster every single day. If you're sitting there right now with a few $100s wondering if it is worth it, let me tell you, it is the difference between $0 and $100,000 is the hardest part of the journey. But once you cross that line, the math starts to do the work for you. Don't let the inflation reports or the news cycles scare you out of your future. The market is a mechanism for transferring money from the impatient to the patient, and I am the most patient guy you will ever meet. I am betting on the long-term growth of the US economy, and I am betting on myself. So take these two trades with me or Don T, but at least start taking your financial life seriously. Stop buying garbage you don't need and start buying assets that pay you while you sleep. I want to see you win, and I want to see you reach that first $100,000 because that is where the real fun begins. If you found any value in this video at all, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I am going to keep sharing my journey and my numbers because I want to show you that it is possible. Check out my other video where I go through every single stock in my dividend portfolio. If you want to see the nitty-gritty details, I am going to show you the yields, the growth, and why I chose each one for my long-term strategy. It is time to stop being a consumer and start being an investor. The system is designed to keep you broke and compliant, but you have the power to break the chains. It starts with one share of VO and the discipline to keep going when everyone else quits. I will see you guys in the next video where we will dive even deeper into the numbers. Stay disciplined, stay consistent, and always remember that the best thing money can buy is financial freedom. I am going to check the market in the morning and get filled on those orders. I will keep you updated on how they perform and what my next moves are as we navigate this crazy market together. Don't let the short-term volatility distract you from the long-term goal. We are building a legacy here, and that takes time and effort. But the reward is a life of total independence, and that is worth every single sacrifice. I am proud of the progress I have made, and I am even more excited for what is coming next. Quantum computing is on the horizon, and the energy sector is heating up. There are so many opportunities for those who are willing to look past the headlines. So stay sharp and stay focused on your own path. The only person you are competing with is the person you were yesterday. Make sure today's version of you is one step closer to that freedom fund. I will catch you guys later. Peace out, guys.